Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Thursday, April 24th, and the amount of misinformation coming out of the White House administration is hitting new levels, new highs, if you can believe it. The U.S. is saying that they're looking to reduce tariffs and offer concessions to China, and they're negotiating with China, yet China is saying they are not at the negotiating table. So there is a great deal of uncertainty between what the White House is saying, or a big difference anyway, between what the White House is saying and what China is saying. But that trade uncertainty is causing a little bit of turbulence in the markets. Everything in the U.S. in the futures right now is in the red. If we take a look at the futures here, you can see that all three indices are in the red after a very strong 2 days. I mean, Monday was terrible in terms of it was very red, turned down 2 to 3%. But then Tuesday and Wednesday had pretty decent recoveries, probably about 4 to 5% recovery, depending on the index and the sector and the stock from what we've seen. But now we're looking like we're heading into a bit of a decline, but no real news today to justify major moves at this point. Now, remember, we have a president that loves to govern on social media, and that gentleman could send out misinformation or information, or just a lack of information that could cause the market to go haywire. We have had some earnings this morning, so let's flip over to the Yahoo Finance app, and some of the earnings have not yet come in. They're scheduled for 8:30, but we do have some scheduled for this morning. So we've got crude oil up almost a little over three-quarters of a dollar at 63.05. It's just been bouncing around, but it's finding it hard to get above $65 a barrel. We've got the VIX, which is up 8.18 or 18 basis points at 28.63. So it's below 30, which is a good sign. It is falling, although I find it hard to believe that it's falling because the uncertainty has really only increased in terms of what could lead to volatility. But nevertheless, what we're finding here in health and retail is retail took it was a bit mixed yesterday, but for the most part, it's a couple of the big names are down today in the pre-market. You've got healthcare, mixed bag this morning, not really a lot of movement. JB Hunt off in the pre-market session, but having a decent day yesterday. Oil, oil and utilities. Vistra, the utility, did very well yesterday, again, for no particular reason. Con Ed was off, another utility, so no consistency there. Mostly red in the oil sector yesterday, with the exception of Valero that does report this morning at 8:30. And based on the results from Halliburton, I'm going to guess that the Valero results are not going to be optimal. We have technology, some of which are in the green. Texas Instruments reported yesterday after market hours, came in with a better than expected earnings and revenue report, as well as a positive future forecast. I don't believe there was one word about tariffs in their forecast or report, which was surprising because that is a major impact for Texas Instruments. So they shot up based on that. So very good job for them in working around that whole tariff conversation and positioning that. We've got some others on tap, like Google for tomorrow. Scrolling through the list, not everything, but the majority of stocks look like they're going to start the day in the red, with the NASDAQ off in morning pre-trading hours. TSM had a pretty good day yesterday. Google was up, Nvidia was up. I mean, most of the big names were up yesterday. The S&P 500 index obviously had a good day, not as good as it did when it started out. It really rocketed higher and then ended up closing up 88 points, which is still decent. It was over 1% at 53.75. I bought some puts yesterday around 53.60, thinking that the market would pull back. Looks like it's set to do that this morning, but we'll see whether that continues to come down, or whether it just kind of hovers at a certain level today, waiting for Alphabet results and others. What we're hearing from most companies that are reporting, we've had a few more airlines report, like American Airlines, and they pulled their full year guidance or outlook because of softer demand concerns. They're down in the pre-market due to weakness in revenue and earnings. So we are seeing certainly some negative impacts already to companies' earnings and revenue this quarter. And I think that's only going to get greater as we move forward throughout the year with the level of uncertainty. We really just need to come to a conclusion on if we're going to have tariffs, what they are, and stop changing the amounts and stop making random announcements about things that potentially impact the economy and the businesses and the consumers within that economy. That's really where we need to get to. We need to stop governing the leader of the free world country through Truth Social and blaming Democrats for things. Let's just get things done and fix them and stop blaming people who aren't in power. You have full control of the House and Senate, so do what you're legally allowed to do within the governing laws of America and move forward. We'd all be happy with that, but that does not seem to be the way in which the president wants to operate. He is not accountable to the rules of law in his own mind. We look at financials and we can see that it's pretty much red across the screen with one or two exceptions. Raymond James came in yesterday. I was surprised to see that they missed on earnings. That was disappointing. They are down in the pre-market, so we'll see what happens there and whether that turns. I thought they would have had some strong trading revenue. Wealth management would be up and they would be in a good position like Charles Schwab, but they did not weather this storm very well, and they're getting penalized for that. The one that still baffles my mind this week is Tesla. Tesla was up $12, almost $13 yesterday on some of the worst earnings ever, and today they announced that they believe their robotaxi will be ready by June. Again, they've been saying this for a couple years now. I have a really hard time believing that, especially when Elon is not back at the company. But it looks like a number of people have just had the wool pulled over their eyes, and they are believers in that brand and that company, even though it has dramatically changed in the last 6 months. So we'll have to see how that stock plays out for the rest of the year. Good luck in your trades today. If you like the videos, please hit the like and subscribe button.